Greetings. This is Stan, and this is a bit different, and maybe it will always be something different. Many of you who know me for years know that I've taught for years the Sunday night meeting, and that's where I've basically said, there's a meeting you need, and that's Sunday night, and that's a meeting with yourself, and a meeting with your own spirit, and a meeting that you invite the very Spirit of God, and you kind of see what you're looking forward to, and perhaps the vision you might have as Monday meets the marketplace. I've also discovered what I oftentimes call now Sunday morning coming down. That's a little bit of a thought as I get up early on Sunday morning and know that we have the worship experience ahead of us, and then after the worship service we are ready to get ready for the week that's ahead of us. So what's going to happen on Sunday morning coming down, and what's going to be the case for our Sunday night meeting? By the way, this is a Stan in the study and not in the studio. Here's what I mean by that. Traditionally, when I do this program, I go into one of three spaces. And again, some recent teaching. That is, every man, every woman who's going to make it in the marketplace, and if they want to make it in life, they need three places. First of all, you need the office where the work is done, and increasingly, and probably in the near future, maybe for the long-term future, that may have to be in your own home. So the home office is more than just a home office. It may be the office. So you got to have an office. But then you need a study, a separate place, a quiet place where you can read and think, maybe doodle, scribble, pray. You need a place to study. And then you need a studio. And that is what I'm going to talk about a little bit tonight. You need a studio. You're going to have to be in a place and space where you can do what I normally do and walk in, turn on the lights, turn on the power, and the video cameras and the recording studio is all set for me to do what amounts to a professional level communication, radio and video, at least enhanced amateur. Tonight I'm in the study. And so I just like to do a little reminiscing about things from the study. It will not have the flavor of a well-produced program, and maybe I should back off of that from time to time and just simply do what I'm doing here. This is just Stan in the study. Not the leader of the podcast, not the presenter of the program, not the showman and spokesman of the show. Just Stan in the study. So take that for what it might be worth. Here are some things I've learned and I've become aware of. I'm aware of right now that on this July 12th, we are in a significant time. I think a very, very significant time. Yesterday, those in the Catholic tradition celebrated the feast of St. Benedict. And it's often said that St. Benedict was the man, and the man with his following, who basically kind of saved Western civilization as they attempted to do all the things that were necessary to preserve what civilization there had been in the Greek and Roman and previous world. And then as the whole world fell apart in the Dark Ages and barbarian invasions and terrible, terrible pandemics, just incredible, wiping out millions of people, that it was perhaps St. Benedict and his men and women who kind of saved Western civilization. I kind of wonder, are we at one of those points where we have to do some things that may keep civilization on the right track? Well, I've been led to believe that right now in the middle of 2020, we are in a crucial time. And We are in the middle of a mess. Here's some things that have come to me that might be helpful to you. First of all, you're going to need a studio yourself. Obviously, we've been told now that the shutdowns or the slowdowns will continue. We are wondering whether schools will open and how that will happen. Someone said, I wish I would have invested in Zoom about a year ago, and I would be very wealthy because of all of the Zooming that's going on. But someone else said, perhaps in November you might want to sell that stock because people are going to be really tired of Zoom. Online education in its totality does not work, but online in the way we communicate and do work will work. One of the things you're going to have to do is get good at being online, on the air. You're going to have to be good at something like Zooming. Now what's going to happen is Zoom is going to have their competitors, and they're probably going to develop another product. Zoom is a bit clunky. Their servers are in China. They're going to have some problems, and the competitors are going to come, and they're going to have a better product, and Zoom is going to have to work to keep up. But the problem is most people, 70% of the population, does not know how to do a good Zoom experience. It's terrible. It's boring. People leave. They think all they have to do is get in front of the laptop computer and get in front of the microphone and start. No. You're going to have to know not only that you're in the studio, but you're going to have to understand that you need to have some broadcast and media training. All business is now show business, even more so. And all business is radio and television business, and mass media communication business. All business is communication business, and you're going to have to be a much better communicator, and you're going to have to learn how to do the mass media. You're also going to have to understand that new radio is here to stay. By the way, one of the wonderful things that happened on this Sunday morning is I went to church with my daughter in New York City. It was wonderful. Of course, she was in New York City and I was in Arizona, but we watched a program, and it wasn't just a worship service. It was indeed a program at St. George's Calvary in New York City. It's wonderful. The music is delightful. The Word of God is preached with power. But it's not just a Sunday morning service that somebody put together in front of a camera, like most. It truly was designed to be an online experience that, as I would say, would stir the mind, move the spirit, and touch the heart. It was very different. And by the way, you're going to have to learn how to do those things. Also, in that service, the pastor said this. He said, please pray. Praying is the most important thing. Please keep pledging. We need your help. And he said, podcast. Go to our podcast. We would say participate, and we're not going to be able to open till September 13th, but go to the podcast. Podcasting is how we will reach you, and it doesn't have to be on time. It doesn't have to be your time or our time or the time. You can participate anytime. So he said, right now, our church will be depending on podcasting to do the work that we do. By the way, if you're smart, you will know that too. So those are just some thoughts I'm having, and I'm concerned because I think we are at a crucial time. I know I am, in terms of the business we're doing. By the way, we are now helping about 4 or 5 people do podcasts, and when I get done with this, I'm going to do a significant podcast for one of our client companies, and it's on Job. It's on the suffering of Job. And you're going to learn that that famous story was not about Job and his patience, because he didn't have any. It was about Job and his prayer. It was about his conversation, his cussing out, his connecting, his anger with his friends and with God and with what happened to him, because what happened to him was terrible. And he couldn't figure it out because he'd been a good man and was a good man, and why is he going through? By the way, you might like to hear that podcast. I think you'll find it, and it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. God spoke to me in several significant ways about that. But here's my closing note for this Sunday night. It's going to change profoundly. I did a podcast with a lady just last week, and her story was that she graduated from college, and she'd been quite an athlete in high school and college, and she graduated with a degree in physical education. She thought that was what she was called to do. And so she got a degree in physical education, was going to teach physical education, and it didn't work. And now some 40 some years later, she has done many, many, many things that are totally unrelated to what she went to college for and what she studied to be. And what she is doing now is in no way connected to anything that she would have chosen as a young woman. And now she's in the place just right. And here's what I'm going to say to you. And by the way, there are 3 specific people that I have in mind who need to hear this right now. And they might be listening, they might not. But now in these post-COVID times, don't look to your past experience. Do not let your past experience be any significant guide in the decisions you're going to have to make about what to do next. Please, do not let your past experience and your past, what you think you know, and what you really think it's all about. You're going to have to become kind of a total agnostics about what it is that you should be about until you do the work. But you're going to have to make some significant decisions about your life and business, and I simply would encourage you to remember, don't let your past experience be the primary guide to what you should do next in the future before us. And if you're thinking of going to college next fall, and for some reason you're listening to this, I'll simply say this: don't go. Don't go this year. They're not ready to do it. They don't know how to do it right. The college experience next year will not be a good one. Take the year off. Do something different. Learn something useful and practical and helpful, and do something you love. But don't go to college this fall. Hey, you want to talk about any of these things? Reach out to me. It's Sunday night, and I'm available. StanHusted@gmail.com. StanHusted@gmail.com. And I'd be glad to visit with you. Again, this is just Stan from the study. And I wish you all the best and blessings, and you will be in my prayers on this Sunday night. Best and blessings. Bye for now.